Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Movie. And this week, we're going to be talking about the Netflix acquisition, or maybe not, to follow up with last week's episode, as well as two movies that I saw this past week. And one will be out probably before. I'm going to try. We're going to shoot for it, probably Saturday before this comes out. This will be out on Monday. Anyway, welcome to Let's Talk Movie. Let's talk movie. We're going to start by following up with last week's episode. If you haven't seen it, I'll have a card right up here with the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. There is some follow-up to that because as of last Monday, literally the day that my episode came out, Paramount put out a quote-unquote hostile bid. So Netflix asked in their offer of $27.25 a share. Paramount said, we'll give you $30 a share. So Netflix's share was valued at about $82.7 billion. Paramount's is coming in at $108.2 billion. What? Holy. Does the world really have this much money to just let it rain, put my swag on? What? This is blasphemy. This is nuts. How do we put this in the education system? I'm not going to get political. We're talking about movies, damn it. But what does this mean? What does it mean if Warner Brothers says yes? What does it mean if they say no? There are still so many questions to be answered about what's going to happen with all of Warner Brothers. What's going to happen with all of those IPs? Are we going to start seeing those IPs on Netflix directly? Is HBO Max just going to go swept under the rug or somehow integrated into Netflix as Disney did with Hulu? Because Hulu doesn't inherently exist anymore. Like it's a dead service. It's just part of Disney now. So is that what is going to happen with HBO Max? Is Netflix going to be the new Pac-Man and just waka on every single streaming service that poses a threat or a competition? Because I'm telling you right now, we're having that showing of the big three of streaming. Before you know it, I'm going to say it now. It might come down to a top two. Or even one big powerhouse that will have all of these streaming services, and then it will be like cable all over again. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm just a Jersey boy that loves movies and loves going to the movies. Speaking of going to the movies, saw two of them. We're going to start with what I had just seen, the abomination, but the people like it. The people like it because you have all of these because you have all these fans that have played the game that are in on the lore. Notice that word, right? The lore. That's right, people. I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Like Cody Rhodes always says, you got to finish the story. And sure enough, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It wasn't terrible, but it was still pretty bad. Getting into Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This was more of a dud. And the reason I say that is because just when you think that it can't get worse, it does. And I thought, okay, if they kept it on the bad scale, like the first one, it could end up being like a cult classic. Problem is, they decided to up the ante, but upping the ante only decreased its value, really. Because I don't care about this. I don't want to care about it. Excuse me. I thought most of the actors were practically phoning it in. I didn't like that. The dialogue feels like it's written for kids. And it's like, it's so confusing. And look, I like the Five Nights at Freddy's games, I remember watching every single Markiplier video, like every time he would put up one, or even when people would send him those custom games that people would make of Five Nights at Freddy's. I used to watch those too. And I wasn't going into these movies thinking that it's going to be a copy and paste rendition in live action form. I took this as, okay, this is your loose premise. How are you going to build the story around it that feels like you can go for a franchise of 3 to 5 movies? And somehow, because of their box office success, they did it. I saw the budget was $36 million. And I saw that they just rang in 109. Are people seeing this 12 times? Are they buying 12 seats every time they go? Because how? And it truly makes you think, okay? Take a movie like Dwayne Johnson's The Smashing Machine, right? Debuted with like $6 or $7 million at the box office. And then you have something that's buku stupid, goofy, like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that rings in 109. With that, we also got to talk about a little something, because I touched on it briefly in the review. You can check it out on YouTube. But what's going on with movie theater etiquette? Because I've seen a lot of people talking either on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, that going to the movie theater it's not a chore for the movie. It's a chore to endure what people are doing in the theater. Like, there's no more etiquette when it comes to going to the theater. People are talking. People are on their phones. People are hollering, hooting and hollering, screaming, throwing their food around. What? Why? And a lot of people are putting it on the concept that it is the post-pandemic world of movies. That's a load of hogwash, in my opinion. Because you're telling me that in those months that you couldn't go to a movie theater, you lost all sense of what it is to go to the movie theater? I don't buy that. That's like saying, well, if you didn't ride a bike in a year and then you get back on the bike, are you just don't know how to ride a bike anymore? I think manners are the same thing. I think manners should be practiced. I think etiquette should be practiced. I don't think that's something that you inherently just lose. I'm different because I was brought up, like, I guess, with manners, like very formal. But I understand that not everyone has grown that way. Everyone has different sets of what manners and etiquette are. And that's, hey, everyone's entitled to how they live. That's the life your life, as I like to say, I guess, from Dylan Didico, you know? But back to movie, because that's why we're here, right? Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Vanessa, I don't know what's going on here. Huh? Like, she's not to be trusted. Mike does not trust her as far as he can throw her. And I mean, she's a lot taller than him, so I'm sure it's not that far. Matthew Lillard is the big part that I wanted to see more out of. And I felt like he got the short end of the stick. And then I wanted some more out of Ski Ulrich's character. And even that felt like it was short. This entire movie is short, to be real. But it just feels a lot like a bunch of unnecessary hoopla. You know, the dialogue is crummy. There's some goofy moments with the acting. Goodbye. What are we doing? What? Cut the check. Off to lunch. The kills, I get it. It's a video game adaptation into live action. But can we take a little bit more effort when it goes into the kills? This is, after all, a horror movie based on horror games. Though there was one with the marionette that one made me jump out my boots a little bit. But that was it. The rest was like super expected. And you go into, back when you would play the Five Nights at Freddy's games, or you would watch someone play the Five Nights at Freddy's games, it wasn't like that. I remember me just watching Markiplier play, and I was scared. I was like, I have no idea what's happening. As he's going, I have no idea what's happening. There was an element of surprise. With these movies, there's no surprise. It's predictable. It plays out in a dumb way, and then the kills don't even have like that satisfying payoff in a horror movie. I mean, especially when it comes to horror, you have the main antagonist being whomever, in this case, animatronics, and it doesn't even pay off. It doesn't even feel satisfactory. Not even at the end, when they decided, oh, let's get the band back together. And the OGs come out and start banging on the withered versions from the other location. I was like, yo, are the portals of Endgame opening up? Like, what's going on? I was just immensely, at that point, I was just laughing because I thought the Thumbs were going to start coming in, and Mr. Floop and all of the Cortez family might as well, right? Ugh. And I mean, that ending picked up a little bit into the rest of the horrid nature of this film. But then the end is so abrupt. It's cliffhanger bait. It's that bait that gets you to think like, damn, they're going to make another, aren't they? And sure enough, because it made back its budget and then some, we're going to get another one. And it's like, I hope you bulletproof for this about to hurt. I don't want another one. But then I hear him. It's like Danny Torrance in The Shining, except it's freaking, anytime there's a movie series that I don't want to keep going, he's like, keep going. And I'm like, no. He's like, you have to finish the story. And I'm like, I don't want to finish the story. And then there he is, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes in my ear. You have to finish the story. I'm like, no, not if it's going to be buns like this, man. I'm doing that still with The Strangers. Those movies are ass. And here I am, still awaiting the third one. As for Five Nights at Freddy's, though, I don't know how many they're trying to pump out of this. But I think they have a wicked fan base that will slide in at any point in time to be like, Five Nights at Freddy's. And then out of nowhere, I saw people going as the actual animatronics. And I was like, yo, it's crazy when you see a fan base come together. And I say that as a freaking Spider-Man fan, as a Marvel fan. And then the only thing you do is support them. You know, everyone has their niche when it comes to movies. You know, my buddy James, he's a big Godzilla guy. I got one buddy who's big on Dragon Ball movies. I got another buddy, Joey, who's into Predator and Alien and even Resident Evil. So everyone's got their thing, right? And I think for a lot of people, Five Nights at Freddy's is one of them. It's we have to take it as this. It is a huge pop culture phenomenon now. It's part of pop culture. I mean, we've heard all the brain rot sounds with it. I still have some in my head. I mean, the Foxy running jump scare from the first one has been an inside joke with my buddy Dan for nearly a decade now. That's insane to think about. That Five Nights at Freddy's, the 13 games that they have, they could turn into an entire movie franchise. I'm a little scared, chat. I'm a little scared. But I'm sure we're going to make it through. I hope if you're going to see Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I hope you make it through as well. Because honestly, wait till it goes on Peacock. Do not see it in theaters. And I know it goes into what I was talking about with Netflix and Paramount and Warner Brothers. And look, I think that most movies should be enjoyed in front of a movie screen. That doesn't mean all the movies. However, I really, 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 really want to go see Iron Lung when it comes out. We were talking about Markiplier. I thought about it because he is putting out a movie, and we like to talk movies here. I want to see Iron Lung, so best believe that will be on the channel. Because I watched Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks 2 weeks ago, or last week, something like that. And then in January, I definitely want to see the Iron Lung. No ifs, ands, or buts, non-negotiable. Okay? On to our second movie that we saw, Zootopia 2. I didn't really have hype for this movie. I was just like, oh, wow, they're making another one. Who would have thought? Oh. But here we are. I really liked it. I didn't have many problems with this. The only problem I had was around the second act, toward like right in the smack in the middle. It felt like it was dragging a little bit. I'm like, all right, what are we trying to get to? And of course, they make that up in Act 3, and then it's like, yeah. But I mean, this cast is stacked. There is like, I mean, Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman as Hobson Wilde. They don't miss. But you had the Gary the Snake, played by Ke Huy Huang, and he did a really good job. I loved his performance. Andy Samberg was a surprise, but also really spectacular, honestly. David Strathairn as the proposed Milton Linksley, Milton Linksley. That's what it was. That was really good. Then there was like one or two where I was like, huh. Like sometimes my movie cast brain will go off and I'm like, oh, getting those references and cameos. But there was like so many people. I mean, Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary was one that immediately popped in my head. Danny Trejo, Zeus, may he rest in peace. I remember hearing that they used lines that he recorded beforehand so he could reprise the role here. A lot of credit and props to Disney for that. But you even had people like Bob Iger make an appearance. And I was like, huh? This guy's got enough money. Give that to somebody else. Whatever. But my favorite was the Sea Bros, played by the one and only, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and the Second City Saint from Chicago, CM Punk. It's always nice when my worlds collide like that, whether it's pro wrestling and movies, whether it's movies and music and pro wrestling, superheroes and music, which that is happening because I saw that Drake, let me know if you understand that reference. Drake is doing a collab with Marvel, and they're saying that because his next album is called Iceman, there's going to be some special Iceman type-ish merch, which I think is cool, regardless of how I feel about Drake. I think that's cool. I saw a Venom jersey that actually looked pretty tough, where I was like, if I was springing bills, I'd cop that. But I mean, we'll see what happens with the OVO because, hey, music and pro wrestling did it recently with Travis Scott. I remember I have some merch from the Cactus Jack WWE collab. So back to Zootopia 2. The Zebros was like, it was short, but it was like my favorite thing because I distinctly remember one of the Zebros go, "What does the fox say? You suck." And for some reason, that felt like such a perfect peanut gallery type of call out that it just cracked me up. Then there were brothers. There were so many references in this movie. Like, so many movie references and so many innuendos and so many callbacks where I'm like, I was not expecting that in a Zootopia movie. Like, they had a Shining reference, and I was like, wow. And it was like almost down to the beat. And I was like, damn, I'm sad. I'm enjoying this. And I did. Now, some of the innuendos I want to get into, because then it had me thinking, like, is this for kids or is this for adults? And I have this little thing that I like to call tweener movies, where it speaks to the younger demographic, but also speaks to some of the older demographic, like my generation and like even parents that are a little bit older and maybe even older, because they hit points like gentrification and moral presence with Wild, because it also brings in the feels, like all this unresolved trauma. Then they have certain personal complexes, and then not knowing how to speak your emotions and how you feel. And I was like, I'm getting hit with a lot here. Like, there's stuff I got to be woke about. There's stuff I got to think about in my emotional space. My entire existence is at an all-time flux. But I had a whole bunch of fun doing it. Because Zootopia 2 was good. I don't have to talk about animation because it came from Disney, and Disney just pays billions of dollars for nothing just to have crisp, clean, smooth, and precise animation. Okay? Capiche? But dude, even Shakira was in this movie. La, 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 la. And I mean, look, I really enjoyed Zootopia. And like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, this is where the fan base really pours in, because I think Zootopia 2 is close to making $1 billion. What? But I loved it. And I think you will too. So go to your local theaters, people. Support your local theaters before the movie theater experience goes down with Netflix, Warner Brothers, Paramount, whomstever is going to kill the game. But I think that's going to wrap it for this week of Let's Talk Movie. We are getting closer and closer to Christmas time. I'm trying to think about one Christmas movie to watch. And I'll ask all of you, if you had one Christmas movie to watch, you can watch no other Christmas movie for the rest of the holiday season. You get this one movie. What are you going to watch? Me personally, if we talking Christmas time, I might keep it a stack. There's two that hit my mind right away. And believe it or not, they're both Marvel movies. Iron Man 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home. And the reason why Spider-Man is a Christmas movie is because, yes, it takes place during October, but then it bounces a couple months into Christmas time. get served. Anyway, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.